Welcome, everybody, yet another episode of the Wrestling vs. the World podcast. If you're all enjoying your day, sweet. If not, what the hell ever. So this one is mainly gonna, yes, it is wrestling related, but it may be more pertaining to those who've played wrestling video games. And that is, there are certain versions of WWE video games that have exclusive playable characters within them. Now, I'm going to be, like I said, it's only going to be playable characters, so no NPC/managers, and no DLC will be discussed in today's episode. And all these games are games that are ported to more than one console. So I'll be going over the games and which ones have exclusive characters to different ports and everything like that. So the earliest that I'm going to start off with is WWF Super Wrestlemania, which was on the Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis. Both ports of the games shared Macho Man Randy Savage, the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase, and Hulk Hogan. However, there were exclusives. For the Super Nintendo, you exclusively had The Undertaker, both Road Warriors Hawk and Animal, Jake the Snake Roberts, Earthquake, Typhoon, and Sid Justice. Now, if you had the game on the Sega Genesis, the exclusive characters you had on there were The Ultimate Warrior, Shawn Michaels, IRS, the British Bulldog, and Papa Shango. So yes, there was a good amount of exclusive characters between both of them. Now you get on to the next one, the WWF WrestleMania Steel Cage Challenge, which as of recording has been ported to the NES, the Sega Game Gear, the Sega Master System, and there's also a TV/plug-and-play version that has been released in stores. Now, all versions of the game include Bret the Hitman Hart, IRS, Macho Man Randy Savage, the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase, and The Undertaker. However, there are many exclusives in this one. For example, Hulk Hogan is not available on the TV/plug-and-play port. When it comes to Jake the Snake Roberts, he is not exclusive on either the Sega Game Gear or the Master System. Papa Shango is only exclusive to the Game Gear and Sega Master System. Razor Ramon is exclusive to the TV/plug-and-play version. The Nature Boy Ric Flair is exclusive to the Game Gear and the Master System. Roddy Piper is not available on either the Game Gear or the Master System. Shawn Michaels is exclusive to the Sega consoles. Sid Justice is not included on the Sega consoles there. Tatanka is exclusive to those two consoles. The Mountie would be an NES exclusive, and the Ultimate Warrior would be exclusive only to the TV/plug-and-play version of the game. So yeah, it was a lot of mixed results in there. I mean, you had 4 ports, and just depending on which one you really wanted there for all these exclusive superstars. Now you get to the WWF Royal Rumble game for both the Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis. Both games would share Bret the Hitman Hart, Crush, Macho Man Randy Savage, Razor Ramon, Shawn Michaels, the Narcissist Lex Luger, and The Undertaker. What exclusives happened here? Well, if you bought the Super Nintendo version, you would get the exclusives of Mr. Perfect, Ric Flair, Tatanka, the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase, and Yokozuna. But if you picked up the Genesis version, you would get exclusively Hulk Hogan, IRS, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Papa Shango, and the model Rick Martel. So it actually feels a bit more balanced in a way there for those two. Now you get to WWF King of the Ring, exclusive to the NES and the Game Boy. Now, both versions of the game would have Hulk Hogan, Macho Man Randy Savage, Mr. Perfect, Bret the Hitman Hart, Shawn Michaels, Yokozuna, Lex Luger, Razor Ramon, and you. However, there is a bit of an exception here because the NES would exclusively have Bam Bam Bigelow and The Undertaker. So 2 less characters on the Game Boy port compared to the home console NES. Now, we get to a special one here. WWF Raw, which was on the Game Boy, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, the 32X, and the Game Gear. Now, all ports of the games shared Bret Hart, The Undertaker, Yokozuna, Razor Ramon, Lex Luger, Shawn Michaels, and Diesel. But there were many exceptions here as well. Bam Bam Bigelow you would not get on the Game Boy version. Doink would not be exclusive or available on the Game Gear. The 1-2-3 Kid, Owen Hart, and Luna Vachon would be Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis exclusive. Macho Man Randy Savage and Crush would be exclusive to the Game Gear, and if you wanted to play Quang, you had to get him on the 32X with a special code where when you're on the character selection screen, hold down B and A, you'll hear a whistle, and then it'll unlock Quang. So if you really want to play Savio Vega under this different character, That was the only way to get them. Now you get to WWF WrestleMania, the arcade game for the PlayStation 1, Super Nintendo, Sega Saturn, Sega Genesis, MS-DOS, and the arcade. Barely any changes here, but all versions of the game include Bret Hart, Doink the Clown, Lex Luger, Razor Ramon, Shawn Michaels, and The Undertaker. But both Bam Bam Bigelow and Yokozuna would be excluded from the Super Nintendo port of this game, which is kind of a shame on that one. Now we got 2 more games left, even though this next one I'm putting an asterisk by because of a certain exception here. For WWE SmackDown vs. Raw 2006, the only change here is that on the PlayStation Portable version of this game, because there are only 2 ports here, PS2 and PSP, on the PSP you can get Jake the Snake Roberts. Now in order to do it, you gotta play through Season Mode, collect $28,000 after getting a bunch of wins, and then buy him in the WWE shop / locker room area to get him in the game. Now, through that, he's exclusive to the PSP, but you can get him on the PS2 either if you use a Game Shark, or if you get the character in the PSP version of the game, connect your PSP through USB to your PlayStation 2 while also playing SmackDown vs. Raw 2006 on there, and then using the in-game's transfer system to bring the character to the PlayStation 2 port of the video game. So that's a little asterisk. If you don't have the PS2 port, then he's exclusive to PSP, but you can make an exception there. And then finally, we get to WWE SmackDown vs. Raw 2008, the most recent example of character exclusivity, because this whole console game was on the PSP, PS2, PS3, Xbox 360, the Wii, the DS, and mobile devices. Which is, I'm guessing, means the games are no longer available, because I'm not sure what mobile devices those would be. But there were 4 characters that were exclusive to certain consoles. On the Nintendo DS side, the only exclusive character you could get in the game was Hardcore Holly. Yeah, I know everybody's groaning on that one. And then on the PlayStation Portable side, you get 3 exclusive characters that you have to unlock because they're counted as legends: Eddie Guerrero, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, and Sergeant Slaughter. Otherwise, those characters you can't get on any other ports of this overall video game. So yeah, that was a lot of characters and everything. I expected more, like maybe through Crush Hour or something like that, but from my research, every other WWF/WWE video game, they don't have any other exclusive characters to any other ports of these games. I mean, there are some games that are still in other ports on other consoles and everything like that, but there are no other exclusive characters. And like I said, this is not including DLC. Otherwise, I could put everything from SmackDown vs. Raw 2009 through either 2K20 or Battlegrounds or whatever the last game was that no longer is allowed to have DLC, because that would make a far bigger list. But this is just involving games that everybody can unlock right off the bat without any real hacking or cheating of sorts. Give or take the Quang part. But that is going to settle it. Let me know in the comment section below, what characters are you surprised became exclusive characters? And are there any exclusive ports of these games that I just listed off that you have, but did not have any others? So, any port exclusive versions of the games you got, let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed today's episode, or at least learned something, leave a like and subscribe with the bell turned on if you're listening to this on YouTube, or follow if you're listening to this podcast on any other service that this podcast is available on. And I'll catch you all in the next episode. Thanks for listening, everybody. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace out, and good day, everybody.